So, student type of reading nowadays, that is 20th century student type of reading is not required because it is essentially idiotic that we are trained by the professor to go into the veterinary type of memory test in the name of education. That is a cunning way of spoiling the mind. The mind is overburdened with information instead of making the mind blossom in its way. In fact, it is the other way of education. It is uneducating your mind. Education is what is called the alignment of the human faculty. We have many faculties. If we have something to stimulate our awareness from center to circumference, that is education. పువ్వు వికసించినట్టు వికసింపజేయాలి కానీ బయట నుంచి పువ్వు మీద మెన్యూర్స్ పోసినట్టుగా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ పోసినట్టుగా ఏమి కాదు. అండ్ వీ ప్రొసీడ్ విత్ ది సింప్టమ్స్ ఆఫ్ LYCO body. Essentially, since he is ahead of the present, he is always apprehensive. The LYCO body patient is always apprehensive. భవిష్యత్తులో పూర్తి క్యూలు సెంచుతుందను, దట్ ఈస్ అప్రహెన్సివ్. దట్ ఈస్ ది అప్రహెన్సివ్. సడన్లీ ఇన్ ది ఆఫీస్ హి ఫీల్స్ మేబీ మై వైఫ్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ గ్రేట్ డేంజర్, ఆర్ హి ఫీల్స్ మేబీ సడన్లీ మై సన్ ఈజ్ హ్యావింగ్ 106 టెంపరేచర్ అండ్ మై వైఫ్ ఈజ్ annoyed. There is no telephone here. That is the peculiar mentality of LYCO body patient. Suppose he is in the office and he hears the bell of the fire service truck going. Suddenly he feels that his house is on fire. మా ఇల్లు తగలుతుంది, ఇది ఫైర్ తగలుతుంది. That is also one possibility. It's not impossible because unless there is some fire on some house, the car is not going. We bury our house sometimes, but before we go and reach the house, we can't do anything. That is the common sense behind the strange apprehensive mentality. That is apprehensive. Suddenly he may feel, we are all happy now. Who knows that all of us can be happy? Somebody may die. That is his singular mentality. And when a dinner is served to him and observe if he is happy, he is not at all happy. Like the maternal patient, he is weeping. He is like a body himself. Sometimes he is happy instantaneously for a few minutes, and suddenly he sinks down. So he is having opposite type of mood. Sometimes highly elated and sometimes depressed. The next mental symptom. Highly elated, that is elevated, during some time. And he speaks about all science during those minutes. But చాలా సరదాగా ఉంటారు, చాలా ఆశ్చర్యజనకంగా ఉంటారు, మంచి మంచి విషయాల గురించి మాట్లాడుతూ ఉంటారు. ఇది అకార్యకం. And he laughs too much during those hours. వాళ్ళు పిచ్చిపిచ్చిగా నడుచుకుంటాడు అకార్యకం. ఏదైనా ఎవరైనా జోక్ వేశాడు, మీ మ్యారేజ్ చేద్దాం, because he is defeated that he cannot drop the next minute. That's the అంటే రాబోయే రోజుల్లో మనకి నడవడానికి వాతావరణం ఉంటుందో ఉండదో అంటే ఇట్ ఈస్ లైక్ ఇన్సూరెన్స్ లాజిక్. ఇన్సూరెన్స్ లాజిక్ ఏమిటి? డూ యూ వాంట్ టు ఇన్సూర్ there is a telephone. So a young man who was taking an aeroplane. The young fellow did not know what insurance was previously. He was an Indian. He never cared to know what it is. But చెప్పాడు ఏరోప్లేన్ వెళ్తున్నప్పుడు ఏమో ఆకుండా ఇలా చేతులు పెట్టి యోగక్షేమం మహామి. He asked, why insurance? He said, if you pay 10 rupees, if you are lucky, you will use 10 rupees but you will land safe. If your wife or children are lucky, you will have a plane crash and your wife or children will receive so much amount. That is insurance value. Once for the first time in my life, I took an aeroplane from Vijayawada to Kerala with a friend of mine. What the plane is there? Vijayawada to Kerala. I was doing my third year honors, that is first year. Then the then University Vice Chancellor, T.R. Reddy, was also traveling by the same plane. He knows me because I was something of a poet like the way he was. And he said, why have you insurance? Then just I said, when you are here with me, just know me. And he said, I like you because everyone used to fear him, just smiling and start. This is insurance life, and LYCO fellow will laugh too much because he is not sure that the next moment he may not laugh. He may receive a telegram from somewhere that father crossed us. Like ఎప్పుడు చదువుతూ nature. That is LYCO. And also, remember, acid phosphoric ferrous also have it. Nitrogen ferrous have it. Argentinum nitrogen ferrous have it. And more than all these people, higher chain of ferrous, not insane ferrous, but same higher chain of ferrous have it. You give medicine for 1 week. The fellow said, sir, within 1 week, if something dangerous happens, what should I do? Health cancer. What should we do? We should turn to either Tirupati or Makkah or Jerusalem. That's all. According to our own religion. Or to the sky. Or Stalingrad. Then we ask him to take the for 1 week. So that somebody may run for him when there is justice of life. Then he said, I am doing a job in Srikakulam. I will take the medicine now with me here. I will take it. And after 1 week I will see you. Anyhow, you give me 1 week time I will see you. Then we say yes. Then he says, suppose sir, when I am at Srikakulam something happens. That is fair. Then you have to repeat. That's why you stay here, apply 1 week to leave. Then he says, sir, I have applied for leave for about 2 months. Now it is all done. See, when you have given 1 week time, I will come and say. You say yes, then he says, sir, once again, what should I do at Srikakulam when something happens there? This is the chain logic of health. You can never cut the chain until the first order of higher system begins to work upon the mind. After 2 or 3 weeks, it is the other way around. You give him medicine for 3 weeks, he says, I will see you after 3 weeks. Then you ask him, what happens if some crisis comes when you are at Srikakulam? Then he says, why can't I telephone to you? So his lifetime was a problem. So these are the ranked drugs that give apprehensive nature to the mind. and also add aurum metallicum also. The aurum metallicum patient is also an apprehensive fellow. All these fellows, you can use one word, can't just use it. A killjoy, can't cause them killjoy. That is, they can kill the joy of themselves. They have no joy, they can kill the joy of you and you. When you allow them to stay with you for more than 24 hours, you have to take one dose of the same medicine which you give him 1 dose. Like that. Just be jack. So, lycopodium is so much apprehension, too much apprehension. They imagine all sorts of things. Nothing is impossible in their view. Suppose there is a thunderstorm in Visakhapatnam. Suddenly he feels there is a thunderbolt in his house. వాళ్ళ ఇంట్లో ఆ కిచెన్ 3 హాల్లో పడగానే నచ్చింట్లో ఇంకా తిరుగుతుంది చూడు. That is apprehensiveness. And another is dread to appear before public. Dread to appear before public. That is, for those who follow the profession of lawyers, you know lawyers? The Belgian people do not know lawyers. They call them notary. Notary. In Belgium, I talked of lawyers. They said, lawyers, what do you mean? They asked me. Lawyers in Belgium will tell you, but notary is not lawyers. So in Switzerland, you use the word lawyer, notary. Like in Belgium. The lawyer, the doctor, the professor, that is teacher, the journalist, the actor, dancer, opera, and the circus artist. All these people, many of them go into lycopodium after a certain stage, because one of the causations of lycopodium is undue strain to the nerves in the mind, which the fellow cannot bear. Continuous undue strain, of course, I will give you the kind that makes a lycopodium patient. So gradually the fellow feels that he is not enough for the situation, and he feels that he cannot appear before the public. So he goes on applying for casual leave and avoiding the situation. And then next, the fellow fears loneliness, but he cannot bear the company of others. ఒంటరితనంలో భయం, జనులతో భరింపలేదు. When there are people, he feels a great strain. Their presence is a strain to him. జనులు ఉంటే వాళ్ళు ఉండడం అనేటువంటి చాలా మానసిక శ్రమ, అలసట. If there is no one, he feels lonely and he fears. ఎవరు లేనితో ఒంటరితనం అనిపించి భయపడదు. Essentially, the fellow never travels alone. Lycopodium కూడా ఒంటరిగా ప్రయాణం చేయడం, because he very much believes in the individual life. If we die in the train, that is his life. రైల్లో వస్తే ఆయన అన్నాడు, సడన్ గా రైల్లో వచ్చామనుకోండి ఎంత అసంతోషంగా ఉంటుంది, ఎంత అవసరం అంటే ఒక 2-3 నిమిషాలు చెప్పడానికి నేను చెప్పాను. మనకేముంటుందని మిగతా రైల్లో వాళ్ళకి నేను చెప్పింది. మనం రైల్లో పోతే మనకేమిటి వస్తామో తీసుకోవాలంటే పోయిన రైలు పోతారు. ఆ ట్రైన్లో ఉన్నవాడు సావు వచ్చింది, సావు వాడదు వీటి కాదు, సావు వచ్చేది ఎవరికి. So it is a big headache, it is a death agony to the other fellow. If it is a death to one fellow, the
ది agony is not to himself. ట్రైన్లోకి వస్తే ఎంత గొడవలో ఎంత బాధ అన్నాడు. బాధ ఏముండదు, సత్య బాధ నీకు కావాలంటే. సో ది లైకోపడియం ఫెలో అండ్ ది సైలీషియా ఫెలో, దే నెవర్ ప్రిఫర్ టు ట్రావెల్ అలోన్. లైకోపడియం వాడు, సైలీషియా వాడు ఒంటరిగా ప్రయాణం చేయరు. అండ్ along with them there are friends. That is the Argentinum fellow, Argentinum nitrogen fellow. At least they travel together because they cannot travel alone. ఒక లైకోపడియం వాడు, ఒక సైలీషియా వాడు, ఒక ఆర్జెంటినం నైట్రోజన్ వాడు, ఒక ఆర్మ్ మెటానికం వాడు. అప్పటికి చాతుర్వర్ణ్యం అయ్యాల్సొస్తాము. 4 గేట్లు ప్రయాణం చేస్తూ కోరుకోడు ఉన్నాం అనుకుంటుంటే ధైర్యం దొరుకుతుంటారు. They encourage each other because each of them luckily sees 3 more people. Then there are 4. Each fellow sees 3 more people. But ఇప్పుడు ఇంతుంటాడు, మనకి పర్లేదు అనుకుంటుంటాడు. గుండెకాయ ఒకరికి వంకాయంత కూడా అనుకుంటున్నాడు. That is logic of journey in life. He cannot take the ticket at the counter. He cannot cross the gate because it will be too bustling and rush and busy. So he cannot bear the crowd at all. And therefore, the best and most comfortable position for a lycopodium patient is that his family lives downstairs and the fellow lives upstairs, only one room. పరీక్ష నరేంద్రుడు ఏకస్తంభం ఓన్లీ స్తంభం మేడ ఒకటే రూమ్ వేసుకుని గ్రౌండ్ ఫ్లోర్ ఫర్ ది ఫ్యామిలీ అండ్ ది ఫస్ట్ ఫ్లోర్ ఓన్లీ వన్ రూమ్ ఫర్ ది fellow, the developed fellow. Because psychologically he is sure that people are there downstairs and there should be a bell. At least a few moments before he is dying, he should ring the bell like that. Always he will be thinking of tragedy. And a prayer will say like that. And when all the family declares that they are going to the cinema, he says, you leave me. Because he cannot bear the strain of all that. And then when they are going, he is terrified. Because what happens if something happens to him before they come home? వీళ్ళందరూ సినిమాకి వెళ్తే వాళ్ళు వచ్చే లోపల తను వచ్చుంటే అదే లేకపోయిన వాళ్ళు ఎందుకు వస్తాం అని అనిపిస్తారు. అంతగా వస్తే ఎవరేం చేయలేదు అని అనిపిస్తారు. అంతా సత్యవాడుతుంది ప్రతివాడు వస్తున్నాడు ఏదో తెలుసు అది అలాంటి ఉండదు. ఈ రికార్డ్స్ ఇన్ హెల్త్ ఈ అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్ వాట్ ఇస్ వి డై బికాజ్ వి హావ్ టు డై సమ్డే వి మే డై or we may not die tomorrow. That is the logic of a healthy person. But the lycopodium fellow never allows almost that all the people in the house go away for some time, at least for some hours. So he can neither tolerate loneliness nor company of people. That is the peculiarity, the paradox. And another mental symptom is dislikes the company of strangers. కొత్త వారిని కలుసుకుంటా అంగీకారం కాదు. బికాస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఏ ఛాలెంజ్ అండ్ సమ్మరింగ్ ఆఫ్ హిస్ మెంటల్ హెల్త్ ఫర్ విచ్ హి ఈస్ నాట్ ఇంక్లైన్డ్. కొత్త వాళ్ళంటే హి షుడ్ బి అలర్ట్ ఇన్ మైండ్ ఫర్ విచ్ హి ఈస్ నాట్ ప్రిపేర్డ్. And the best thing for him is to be in the company of people who are there in the routine for years with him. సంవత్సరాల తరబడి తనకి ఎస్మెన్ ఉంటారే తల ఊపేవాడు. తనంటే లోకువ భార్య బిడ్డబంధువులతో ఈరోజు వాడుకుంటుంటారు. తర్వాత గతి లేక తన దగ్గర ఉద్యోగం చేస్తున్నవాడు, ఇంకెక్కడ ఉద్యోగం దొరకనివాడు, ఇలాంటి వాడు పక్కనంటే హైగా ఉంటుంది.
without his independence, and he need not be conscious of something where he is speaking or doing something. So he is at home with people who are involved in the routine and whom he knows for a very long time, familiar people. కాలకాలం నుండి ఎరిగిన వారు, గృహకృత్యములలో వారు, ఆఫీసులలో పరిచయస్తులు, తనకు లోపు అయిన వారు, విధంగా చాలా అంగీకారపడి, ఎక్సెప్ట్ దీస్ పీపుల్, his mind never accepts a prolonged company of VIPs or strangers or intellectuals because of his nature to avoid. This is his mental terror. This shows the mental weakness for this fellow, a desire to avoid. All these things make him feel another mental symptom, that is, he is prematurely old. That he is prematurely old. There are 3 types of people. One set of people feel that they are becoming old every day and prematurely old. A fellow of 40 years believes that he is already old. He is 40 years old. That is what he believes. Another set of people there are. The fellow believes that he is 40 years only. 40 years end. If anyone asks him, what is your age, sir? Only 40. That's the answer. The first fellow answers, I am already 40. So, 2 sets of people. The 2 sets are conscious of time from 2 ends. That is, the first set of people are conscious of time from the other end, that is death. All their actions and thoughts are death conditioned. If I can perform the marriage of my daughter before I die, that is his logic. If I can finish the construction of my house before I die, that is his logic. So for every sentence of his program, he has a phrase, before I die, before I die, before I die. సత్య లోపల అప్పు తీస్తారండి, ఎత్తకపోతే అవతల వాడికి వస్తారు మనకే. యావజ్జీవం సుఖం జీవే రుణం కృత్వా ధృతం ప్రవేశ అన్నాడు చరవలో. He said, యావజ్జీవం సుఖం జీవే, live in the present and live happily. రుణం కృత్వా ధృతం ప్రవేశ. If the society is not faithful to you, you raise a loan and eat dal and ghee and everything happily, and then you die. That's all. That's what Charvaka says. That is one type of logic. The other type is, we are already old. Do so many things. Time is going, time is passing, like that we are always leaping after time. After all, when we think really, time is only an imaginary entity which never exists anywhere in this world except in our diseased mind. True time is only for calculation and for our duties and attending. If time is applied to the present tense, then it is true time. If it is applied to the past or future, it is only a mental symptom and it is a duty. Time never exists except in the form of our own projection and reaction to the environment. When we just try to analyze what is time, it is nothing but our own idiocy. Because there are incidents, there is the voyage, there is the creation, and there is no current or time. It is created by the diseased mind of the human being. Change takes place in the body, just as change takes place in the body of the animal. But the human animal weeps over the change, whereas all the other animals are lucky enough not to feel the change. Fear, of course, is there in animals also, but in animals, what is the difference between the fear of the animals and the human being? In animals, it lives only as an instinct
It is useful for protection. It is meaningful to protect itself and its young ones or wives or flowers. So, among animals, fear is there only to endure this sort of protection. Therefore, it is meaningful. But in the human creature, fear is intellectualized. Therefore, it is meaningful. We fear of disease. We fear of age. We fear of old age. We fear of the future. So we are fears about many things, fearing about nonsensical things that are created and projected by ourselves. That is the defect of fear being intellectualized in the intellectual creature, the human being. So we should prevent these things. Though we are intellectual, we should not make a misuse of our intellect, which makes us unhappy or miserable. If our intellect makes us miserable, then we call it intellect. So the animals have to pity our body. So we require many drugs. Before we want an anticipation like this. So the fellow has time conditioning and death conditioning. And another mental symptom is dread of misfortune. That he may lose his job. దురదృష్టం వచ్చిన భవిష్యత్తును ఊహించుకుంటారు. మన ఉద్యోగం పోవచ్చు, మన ఉద్యోగం తీసేయచ్చు. ప్రస్తుతం ఎవరో మంత్రి గారు మనకు ఉద్యోగం అనిపించారు, ప్రభుత్వం మారితే మన ఉద్యోగం పోతుంది అనుకుంటారు. ఉన్నది చేసుకోవచ్చునగా, చేసుకుంటే ఎందుకు పోతుంది, ఒళ్ళు తగ్గిపెట్టుకుని ఊహించుకుంటూ పోతుంది. Or that we may lose our business. వ్యాపారం దివాలా చేయవచ్చు. We may be asked to vacate the house by the corporation. It is better. So misfortune. Who knows? One by one the family may die.